Hello again. This video may hit a couple nerves on some people, but I have to teach because you'll see, if you haven't yet, that the things that I'm talking about are true. As weird and odd as they may sound, this is how the universe works. Above and beyond all the stories we're seeing, above and beyond all the interactions and the daily in and outs that you have, this is an underlying thing. Before I go into what I have to say about Veterans Day coming up, I have to show you something that is very interesting, okay? When I've been talking about numbers and letters and words and everything like that, and I say that 26 is a Z, which means from the top left over to the top right, down to the bottom left, over to the bottom right, means starting over, okay? And the next number after that, the next letter would be 27, a question mark. And why would it be a question mark? Because 9 is an I with a dot. It's a shape like a 9, but then we have an I with a dot. Now we have 18, which is 9 more, which is this shape right here of a 9 facing out that way, like a circular 9, like that. So we already have a 9 and an I. Then we have a 18, which is a line this way, a 1, and a 9 out that way. So we would have an R. So 18, that's R, 9 is I. Now when we get to 27, we'd have that same shape again, but it doesn't have anything here because we're to any. We've already got to this symbol as a T. That's why U is this, V is straight, W is that, X is basically this shape right here, but meeting like this, because it's that shape right here, meeting in the center, making an X. And now after X, it moves up to the top line. And then from Z, it goes from the top line, starting over. Then what would you be? You'd be a question mark with a dot. You would be this. Is it ironic that that is 9, 18. See how that's a 9 facing out that way? And then 27 would be this shape turned around, missing a line. We've already moved up to the top of our 3-line graph at 26. That's why 27 is this. That's why 28 is blank space. That's why 29 is invaded space with spiritual energy or just energy. 3D is everything in the 3D, their D world. And then 31 is the 3D world activated. Like the opposite of a 13 manifesting, it's the concept active. It sounds plain and simple because I'm putting it simple. And when I say it sounds silly, I don't mean silly. I mean easy to see through. You can see what I'm saying is true. It's not I'm just bullshitting you. It's just nobody else knows this. Nobody else can speak it because they haven't experienced coming from nothingness into everything. So yes, I value that I have a body. I value that you have a body. I value that living beings can feel and sense and make better decisions. We just aren't doing that. So this is why I'm teaching this from the base level. People say they want to go back to the basics. I'm teaching the basics, the fundamentals. Thoth ain't got nothing on what I'm trying to teach you. I can teach you what all that stuff means. Before any history books, before anything. Every scientist can learn from me. Every nuclear physicist can learn from me. I've done all of this before. But as Dan, my duty is to teach you the word and the truth. So, now that we're at 27, this question mark. Is it just a coincidence that we are a mammal that lives for 9 months in the womb? A month is average 30 days. Let's say 9 times 30. We would have 270. So it would be the question of what you're going to be here. Is that just a coincidence? Do you not see that this is all magic? I remember creating it. That's kind of crazy shit for somebody to say and really mean and have this going on when other people out there are running your life and you let them, when I'm trying to show you how to take your life back without having anybody have to get hurt. But nobody wants to listen because we're that distant from knowing when something is true and knowing when something is false. People don't have any clue how to tell the difference. Can you tell that this makes sense? If not, I don't know what I can do for you, you know? So now that there's 9 months in the womb, 270 days, it's a question of what you're going to go as coming out into the world. See how that makes sense? 9, 18, 27, 270 coming times 10, your identity in a 3D world times 10 is who you're going to be here, ongoing. Now, if that doesn't prime you and show you that I know what I'm talking about, this still may bother you. And believe me, I love you. And I'm not doing this because I'm trying to hurt anybody's feelings, especially since I talk about simple stuff like this. I'm an adult. I've been in fights. I know how to defend myself. I'm not some little pushover wimpy dude. The point is, my heart and knowing what needs to be done is more important to me than proving anything. I'm showing you because I care, and this is how we change the world. This is how we make the world better. It's not to prove anything. It's to improve everything. So, 11. Okay, why is that a big deal? I'll tell you why. This is either active duty, actively active. Remember, they can be intenses because it's like saying run, ran, running. You know, we move. We're not just stationary people. You know, these are active things going on all the time in our world. 11/11 is celebrated every year now as Veterans Day because it's a kinetic. What does kinetic mean? Somebody who does something actively active, right? So if somebody gives you an order, the actively activated does the actively active, right? 11/11. Now add 11/11 together and you have V, which is a V, Veterans Day. It's not just me making this stuff up to be silly. It's what it is. So now take that 11/11 and understand what words really mean. No offense. I mean, remember, dog tags, there's a reason for this. And I know, I've been in many wars. So just because I'm not, a veteran of this modern day society that I knew at a young age that was foul and corrupt and not something that anyone should get involved in, whether or not it tells you it's going to make your future better, but I understand why you do it. But I knew deep down in my heart and soul, my core values told me that there was no way that I would do that because that's not right. We're just separated by words and invisible lines, and we're killing each other for rich people to profit off of your soul and off of your effort, off of your action, off of your real currency, your time and effort, your attention. Now, 11/11 is KK. I'm not trying to make any reference towards the KKK or anything. It's just KK, which is the actively active, actively activated, like what someone tells you to do, you do. Equal those together, that makes a 22, which is a V. It's a vital thing, okay? Now, no offense to my brother, no offense to my dad, no offense to every veteran out there. I love you and I care. I know that a lot of people tried to get involved because they wanted to make this world better, but you're not going to do that by cooperating with killers. Now, I don't know how to say it, or becoming killers for them. That's not what tough people do. Tough men protect and defend. They don't go somewhere else and do the bidding of somebody. Think about it. You never have protected us. Those are ideas and stories they made up to play war games with you. Whether or not you want to hear it, it's true. And all the veterans down there or out there who actually do want to be honest, know that that's the case. So I have nothing against you. I know. I've been there billions of times. And I have to get this off my chest because you would not understand what it feels like to really live with it. Your story does hurt, I'm sure. Everybody's story hurts. You know, I've seen so much pain in so many lives. Nobody can tell me that I'm wrong because I have been there and I remember it. So please understand where I'm coming from when I say these kind of things. It's my heart open to you. It's God speaking through me because the God within you wants to know this while you're here in this lifetime so you can change and make this world better. Now, veteran, and Vital Express Plus. Vital Express Plus Express Reference active notion. So Vital Express Plus, somebody tells you what to do, you express that as an active here, active notion. An errand is something that you run for yourself. If you have errands, notice there's two R's because you're the reference or you're the human in this scenario. When you run an errand or when you're running an errand for someone, it means it's expressing through this human or through this actively here or through this reference, active notion, dia, to and from. So that's why it's errand with a D when you're running an errand or when you're doing errands for somebody. It has an S on the end to subject it outward. Words mean and letters mean what I'm explaining. Now when you have an errand, vet errand, it's Vital Express Plus. So someone tells you something and you express that reference or this Vital Expression Plus. It can just be that simple. Express reference, active notion. You're a veteran of something. You can be a veteran at any job, of any practice, of any trade, not just of war, not just of military. This is where people don't understand. You should be celebrating everything we're doing in the vital world because as we come into November, the whole idea of nature is that no vital ember, the light is starting to go down, the heat is starting to go away, the cool is coming in. So you should, celebrate the idea of being alive, not for people who risk their lives, for other people who are foul. Now really take this in and understand. I may be doing this in simple ways, but I'm doing it because this is what we all can understand, and this is what is. So, veteran, just like I said, I'm not trying to, make anybody upset, but now, veteran, now we have an identified notion. Okay, they're working on animals. They're working on hurt animals. They, Vital Express Plus, express reference. So it's to express something vital to an express reference. Now it's a person who's working on an animal or an animal being worked on by a person at this point because it's an identified notion. Veterinarian, right? And why is that? Because the active reference, identified active notion. They're helping work on this identified notion. Vetter, something that Vitally Expressed Plus, express reference, identified notion, active reference, identified active notion. So they're going to find what's wrong with this thing. They're going to find a Vital Express Plus, express reference, identified notion, active to this reference, identified active notion. So see what I'm saying? You have to. If you don't, I know I'm doing it like that because every letter will always mean what it means, and it's working within which word it's being said in. God is the word, if you get it. So now, veteran is basically someone saying like Eddie Vedder. Think of Eddie Vedder. Okay, he was a musician, not just a musician. He worked through himself. E-D-D, either Y, vitally identified, or I-E, however you want to spell it, or Edward, work, plural active reference, dia, or express dia upon itself, identified expression. Now, vetter, to vitally express plus plus, ER. He was a musician who played very well from himself. Get it? He's a vetter. Now, somebody else tells you what to do with one T, or an act is being taken with one T to express a reference, activated notion. So I'm a veteran of working my whole life. So why am I not being celebrated for being away from my family and my loved ones to make tax dollars to pay those same criminals who are paying other people to act out and to be their henchmen? So I have nothing against you. We are all being played, just at different degrees. And I, as an individual, have been through so much more than most people can fathom. And I'm not saying it because I'm trying to compare. I could care less about just about whatever. I mean, I could not care more about people. What has happened to me as an individual is beautiful, and it's horrible, and I've seen it all. But I would not wish that on anybody. It was meant to happen to me because I could handle it. There are so many people out there who say, I can handle it. No, they couldn't. If they lost themselves, no matter how big and bad they are, if they lost themselves and they've seen horror to the T, all the way to the deepest, darkest, they would not be able to handle it. There are a lot of big teddy bears out there who just act tough, and they don't really, really know pain and fear. We're about to come up to that if we don't start getting our heads out of our asses. So I don't mean to keep tangenting, but this is important because people think I'm just bullshitting, and I'm not. So understand that we're celebrating Veterans Day. Celebrate the people who you love. I feel bad for the people who are going out there and doing these things. What we should be doing is turning on our governments and saying no more of this shit. You don't own us. We're not going to do your fucking dirty work anymore. We are not your puppets. Now, really, that would be impressive. If that's what we call the veteran, somebody who turned and said, if you're not going to do right by people, if you're not going to stop poisoning our food supplies and water supplies, then fuck you. We're not part of your sinister team anymore. That's what should be going on. If I'm wrong, please correct me. If this video gets a strike, I don't understand how. This is the truth. If somebody speaking the truth is not welcome, then what kind of world are we headed to? This is truth beyond all truths. It's just people don't want to hear it. They don't want to understand that if someone loves them, they've got to tell them what's going to hurt so they can work their way out of it. I'm going to leave it at that. Happy Veterans Day to people who, made their mistakes and had a good heart. For the ones who just want to be bullies or the ones who are taking part in this willingly to do wrong to others, go to hell. And you're bringing it to us all. So, till next time, God bless you all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Whether I got stern or not, I do care. And whether this is simple or not, it's not as simple as you think. I'm just trying to give it to you softly because it's about to come in a very bad way if we don't come together. And I can lead that. Last thing I'm going to say is we are in a place right now where nobody has good guidance. It is up to people like me to say that the world needs a leader. The world needs an example. And I'll be that example. I'm not saying it because I want that. I'm saying it because it's something that is in me that I see as a requirement. I will lead us to a better place. If you want me to do that, if you want a better place, trust in me and you can. Because I know what I'm talking about. And if you pay a little more attention, you'll see that I do. Again, God bless. Till next time. Peace.